Shin, I don't know, buckaroo. It may be time to get spooky. What's up, guys? I'm here to do a breakdown / live action review to chapter 194 of Sakamoto, which is known as Tachyon Psychia. Tachyspsychia? Okay, so presumably new Shin mode, amp, buff, something of some sort, I'm assuming. Because I'm not sure what else that means. Do I Google it? Or do I let the chapter explain it? That's actually a question of the day. I'll Google it once the review actually starts. So let's not waste any more time and let's roll into it. Editing me. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go. What's up? Okay, not. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact: I do to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact: Shin. Hold on, I'm about to Google that bad boy right now. Forget about what I was going to say about Shin. Let me look it up. But Tachyspsychia. It almost seems like a word, so I wouldn't be shocked if it was. Psychia. Ooh. Things are popping up. Okay. There we go. Tachyspsychia is a neurological condition that alters the perception of time, usually induced by physical exertion, substance use, or a traumatic event. Oh, so essentially, that's spoilers for one of my favorite pieces of fiction of all time. So I won't go into it. But there's a character who I know underwent something like that. So it looks like Shin is about to evolve just a little bit. But what was I about to say before I hopped into googling Tachyspsychia? I think Shin is a lot higher than I admittedly gave him credit for, and man, thank you. He a lot lower than what I initially gave credit. Like, honestly, part of me is still so convinced that Tenkyu's meant to be at least like on the upper half of the orphanage kids. Like, maybe not as strong as Gaku and definitely not as strong as Suzuki, but like at least up there, like maybe relative to Haruma. But the more and more I see him struggle, even after landing and opening that Sharingan, bro, I just don't know. I don't know. But at the same time, I think I have just been genuinely underplaying Shin. I think, personally, maybe he is just built like that for real. I think the whole reason I'm so hesitant is because, like, even though I've been readily convinced, y'all made good enough argument. Yeah, Sakamoto technically still is order level, it's just that Taurus is just built different, and, like, a lot of the current order is built different. Sakamoto is either, like, mid or low order level. I get that. I feel like getting Shin up to, like, the orphanage kid level is, like, it's almost too soon, because the orphanage kids are also meant to be, like, that low to mid order tier level. But at the same time, like, we have more order members. We still have another orphanage kid that still needs to get introduced. Obviously, Uzuki's still a main threat. So, like, there's so many other things that Shin reaching this point in power progression is alright. Especially considering he's reaching it in, like, the most roundabout way possible. He's reaching it through evolving his own abilities and using them in new and different ways. He's not necessarily, like, straight stat clipping certain people. He's legit precogging and manipulating. So, I'll let it slide. But let's not waste any more time. Let's hop right into chapter 194, Tachyspsychia. Still very impressive for Shin. Like, that thing was stronger and faster than any arrow that Shin has actually interacted with before. And he not only ate that for real, but he's still standing. Shin, you clearly built like that, Buckaroo. Let's see. He's too far. I can't read his thoughts, which is still crazy. Like, even, I know because he's too far, but the fact that Shin has range that good goes to show how much his ESP has progressed, even in, like, a general scale. I feel like early series Shin could, like, barely reach 10 feet with his ESP to a certain degree. But now he's able to reach a really far distance where he's able to perceive and react to certain things. And heck, if he really did just hard react to the firing of Tenkyu's arrow, that's still very impressive, considering it was a faster and stronger arrow than Tenkyu had ever fired before. And he had no way to precog that beforehand. He just had to straight, he had to hear it and then turn in time to only lose a shoulder, when presumably, considering it's Tenkyu, he likely was trying to bang and get Shin up out of here permanently. But let's see. Don't glare at me, Shin. I want to kill you and get this over with, too. See, that's a little embarrassing, though. Thank you. You're trapped. Not trapped. Once again, I gotta rewire my brain. Like, I've been so focused on, like, my certain specific interpretation of the Sakamoto days power scaling. After the Takamura incident, like, obviously, I understand nothing of this universe and its power scaling. So, I just need to rewire the brain. Shin is higher, Tenkyu's lower. And a lot of it, well, admittedly, gosh darn it, because I've been consuming so much, like, Dragon Ball Z content recently for some reason. Now I'm, like, flipping back and forth. Is kid... Well, I now, personally, just based on, like, the Dragon Ball Z interpretation of it, and like, or the anime interpretation, I actually am somehow twisted and convinced, and like I've done mental gymnastics done by the anime to somehow make Kid Buu the strongest Buu in the anime, just because of like all the different statements he gets, statements that Goku gets, the Daisenshu, and obviously Goku's weird feats inside of Super Buu. If you go with what the Daisenshu says about like the copies that appear in Super Buu that like Super Saiyan Goku one shots of like Ultimate Goku, but still, all that aside, going with the manga's just general interpretation of Super Buu versus Kid Buu. Even though technically, like, they don't say, oh, I hate it, because even in the manga, you can also still make the same argument, because they don't actually mention the key to creed. But all that aside, the more common interpretation of Kid Buu that a lot of the fandom, even myself, used to hold, though now, admittedly, because of like all the extra evidence and like rereading, I'm even low-key changing my mind on it. Kid Buu is not necessarily stronger than Super Buu, right? Especially Super Buu Gohan Absorb. What he lacks and makes him more dangerous is any sort of conscience or any sort of thought. It's a wild animal, if even that, where it just wants to destroy everything. So he's more dangerous, but he's not necessarily as powerful. That's kind of the same thing I'm trying to rationalize with Tenkyu, where he is the perfect result of what the orphanage was looking for in terms of like, oh, a really powerful guy who's good at taking lives with no issue at all. But clearly, he just ain't built like that. Like, especially in comparison. Obviously, you can definitely argue Shin definitely got stronger, more beefy after the Haruma encounter. But, like, just the way that Haruma was... Well, then again, no, Shin didn't have his ESP in that fight, right? Like, in fact, that's when he unlocked the stop for the first time. So technically, yeah, Shin was locked. So maybe he would have beat him, man! Yeah, I think there was some downplaying Shin. My apologies, Shin fan. I think it was just downplaying your boy. But ultimately, I think Tenkyu is the more dangerous of the members, as he has a less, let's just say, viable decree on the sanctity of life than a lot of the other members. But that doesn't mean he may be anywhere near the most powerful. Like, once again, this may be downplaying Shin me, but do y'all think that Shin would have put up as good of a fight against like Kumanomi or put up as good of a fight against Shishiba that Kumanomi did, right? Or well, technically, the moment like Shishiba wasn't running a 2v2 or like a 2v1, he did body back. But so, regardless, enough hypothetical scaling. Let's actually get further into the chapter itself. Don't glare at me, Shin. I want to kill you and get this over with too. But that's the thing. Shin is straight weaving. And like, sure, he's still getting tagged, but he can't read his thought. He's just like, okay, I know he's over there. He's likely gonna, like, even if this is Shin's just raw battle IQ, that's still very, very impressive. That he's going off little information and is literally currently down the main part of his kit that makes him unique as a fighter. The one thing he was here to evolve, aka get the fortune teller and learn how to better use his ESP, he isn't even using right now. He's just straight diffing Tenkyu's enhanced aim, accuracy, and arrow shots, which is crazy. Let's see. And once again, Tenkyu, where are you pulling these arrows from? The piping? Let's see. Ugh, this sucks. Using my left eye makes me feel nauseous. Well, I get that. Like, just how, like, one arm can be stronger than the other, one eye can definitely be stronger than the other. Like, I forget which one of my eyes is weaker. But I know one of them is, like, definitely weaker than the other. I had, like, a recent eye doctor appointment. They're like, wow! You're basically blind in left, not legitimately, but still, like, it was, like, a noticeable difference between left and right. And obviously in a universe like Sakamoto Days, any sort of, like, slight exaggerations would be amplified drastically. So I'm assuming Tenkyu gets, like, a whole nother level of sight. Heck, he's able to do what he's doing right now. It's just that he doesn't do it enough that he's able to use it as a consistent base. He's actively nerfing himself a majority of the time because he cannot use the limits of his abilities, at least not comfortably. Which is, once again, I mentioned this last chapter, I think, very similar to Kakashi, where ultimately he doesn't necessarily blindfold himself for the sake of like, oh, he actually is missing an eye. No, it's just the Sharingan's very intensive. And it's better to keep it covered up and basically not inactive because he can't turn it off, but in a more suppressed state. Just like I'm assuming underneath the eye patch, Tenkyu has that eye open. It's just it's always seeing darkness, so it doesn't necessarily make him nauseous like it is now. Let's see. Darn it. I can hardly move my body at this point. Think. I need to find some knowledge. Oh no, some kind. My brain said, K. Edge? Knowledge. That says kind of edge. Sweet mother mercy. I swear I can read. Let's see. I need to find some kind of knowledge. Oh, okay. Darn. What? Wait. Thank you. What the? You are a range. Like, you couldn't have closed the range and then shot again. You really got this close just to smack him straight in the face? Golly. The motion is correct. Oh, okay. Looks like he closes, unless it's just a drawing error, but I'm assuming he closed his eye. But like, Sure. Well, I guess when you're nauseous, right? Ultimately, the best case is to remove that nauseousness. But like, you could have gotten like a bit closer, or like prepped another shot and then leap closer and then just let it loose. Like ultimately, going from long range to short range. I mean, it is a good mix up though, right? Ultimately, Shin clearly was not expecting that, even though Tenku got back in precog range, considering he was out of precog range for a little bit and was launching arrows as a natural bow user would. Shin let his guard down and allowed Tenku to come in and hit him with a okay, bless you. Ooh, and then the point blank shot. Oh no, move. Oh, so he's commanding himself again. Okay. That's actually very, but I wonder, like, considering this does seem to be a decent ability of Shin's, where he's able to command his body, to kind of like override base limits. Like, did I mention this last review in the Sakamoto days context or another review? I forget, but essentially I've made this comparison a bunch of times before. The whole adrenaline, what is it called? Like, not the adrenaline theorem. Like the essentially the reason our bodies do not use 100% of their potential is because they literally can't handle it. If you ever have heard any scenario of someone surpassing their limits, beyond the natural training sense, because of course there are people who can just lift cars with enough training, and like the Hercules hold and stuff like that. Like, there are a bunch of people in the real world who can do what we as normal people would consider superhuman feats. But ultimately, the reason we mostly don't do that is because even though the average woman could deadlift a car, it would break every bone in her body. Like, her muscles would overextend themselves and shatter every bone, tear her teeth out. Like, it would legit be devious and dastardly numbers. But of course, that's still technically a person commanding themselves on a specific level to do a specific task, even if it involves breaking parts of their body involved in said task. Or, I mean, teeth aren't necessarily involved in lifting a car, but like the gritting of your teeth. For Shin, since it seems like he can do the whole do something, and then he can like basically skip over his own resistance to the ability that other people develop after he gets used on them. I wonder if he's ever gonna accidentally monkey paw himself. Like, ultimately he's going to give himself a command, but ultimately it's going to move in the wrong way. Like, say for example, right? Shin's body interpreted move Shin as dodge to the left. But move Shin in this context could just as easily have been dodge backwards or move forwards. And he would have gotten hit. Obviously, like, he didn't, because we can't lose Shin. But still, I wonder if that's ever going to come up in a fight where ultimately Shin's going to try and use this ability on himself, and he can't, because ultimately it'll skip. Like the brain will, since he's commanding himself, his brain is literally overriding every other bit of thought process that goes with that. He simply moves to move, or he simply punches to punch, not regarding the fact that if he punches into something, he may put himself in danger. Like, say, for example, for some reason or another, Shin is fighting Taurus, and he tells, in order to keep up with the massive stat gap that clearly exists between Shin and Taurus, he starts doing the command thing again. And he says, attack. And then he punches at Taurus, and Taurus is like, just like once again, we can't do any permanent serious damage to Shin. Like, hypothetically, there is a moment where he could like take extreme damage to his arm because he said attack with no clear plan beyond that. But let's see. Huh? That's impossible. How can you run on that leg? Okay, thank you. Buddy. Bow. Nothing is impossible in this universe. If there's anyone who should know that, it's you. You are impossible, bro. Your whole organization is full of impossible people. Are you truly surprised? And once again, adrenaline. Adrenaline can do, well, of course, there are limits, but like, there are some crazy adrenaline stories out there where people have like legit multiple broken bones and still like make it. Of course, once you calm down and your adrenaline fades, and you're cooked. But up until that point, as long as you are still alive, the body will do everything in its power to make sure you can do the living thing still. And that could be a case of this, but obviously we know as readers that it is Shin commanding himself. Let's see. Huh? Wait, that was not the Shin voice. Hold on. Stay hydrated, folks. But let's see. Huh? It worked? More than once? Okay. We're getting a narrator explanation. Let's see. Shin's ability to override people's thoughts works by sending electrical signals to the basal is it basal or basal ganglia? I know it's ganglia, but I forget if it's the basal or basal ganglia of the brain, hijacking the target's mind and body for 1 split second. But due to the body's inherent defenses, it only works once on another person. Oh, so that's a permanent thing. I thought it would be like a exposure type thing, where ultimately he can only use it in one fight. But say hypothetically he were to run into Osaragi and Kamihite again, then he would be able to activate it again because it had been a while. But no, it looks like it truly is a one-hit wonder. And he wasted it on some pretty, like, well, to then again, maybe I don't see, once again, you can call it copium. I call it hopium. It's straight cope. I personally believe if we're gonna get another fight between Osaragi and a Sakamoto's Days member, or like a Sakamoto store crew member, I'm hoping it'd be Lou. Of course, it makes absolutely no sense for it to be Lou, because she hasn't gotten a buff in, like, years? Plural? But still, hope and cope, right? You gotta hope and cope, and that's my hope and cope there, that hopefully Osaragi ends up fighting Lou. And Kamihito will obviously end up fighting Heisuke, right? Like, admittedly, that would be a run back of their already existing encounter, but that'll presumably be after Heisuke gets much, much stronger. So, those two are kind of already matched up. So, technically, Shin burnt it on them, but he didn't burn it horribly. Like, technically, it still is he has the more important one saved up. But that's interesting, though. So, the body will immediately respond. That's actually very impressive, that it only takes one bit of exposure to this. And it's also interesting, because that means Shin himself is kind of an electrical character. Right? Because sending electrical signals. So essentially, and notably, it doesn't even say like radio waves, which I guess wouldn't necessarily make sense. But like, he somehow, through his mind, broadcasts out an electrical signal that instantly shuts down and overrides the ganglia of an individual, which is very, very impressive. Like, once again, I've always been interested in how Shin's ESP worked in comparison to other series. Like, is it just straight magical, or does it have some sort of tangible properties that could be interacted with? And these seem to be tangible properties that could be interacted with. Maybe if we run into a character who also uses electricity, Shin's abilities would be even less effective on them, or possibly completely inert, considering their own like electrical current that flows through their body and that they release would disrupt anything he has to do. I don't know, but let's see. Once on another person. However, if the body emits the current itself, no resistance is triggered. Thus, Shin's power can work in unlimited numbers of time when okay. Can work in a limited number of times when applied to himself. Okay. That's kind of crack-a-doodle-doo. That's a little bro. I mean, it really depends, right? What is the cost? Like that's the, we gotta run that cost-benefit analysis game. Because that sounds a little bit too good. Because of course it's probably gonna be bad after this, because he's already taken a whole bunch of damage. But like, considering, but then again, I guess technically, it's not like he's committing himself to go beyond his limits or anything like that. So technically, this is just what regular Shin peak performance would be. But to be able to hard lock yourself to peak performance, like essentially turn Shin into an android from Dragon Ball, basically, where they have the infinite stamina, that's kind of crazy. That means, essentially, it means if you're trading blows with Shin, you're going to keep getting worn down. But unless you like actively disable Shin, right? Like, let's say you break the joint of his arm and then he can't use that anymore, he will always stay at pretty much max. And that's impressive. Obviously, the question is, how high can he evolve this? Can he like infuse mind reading / precognition with this offensive / defensive ability in order to weave more immaculately and then strike more immaculately? I wonder. But work on unlimited times when applied to himself. I don't get it, but all right. Honestly, as that has been my motto in life since time immemorial. I don't get it, but all right. Like, ultimately, you don't question it. Some gift horses, you don't look in the mouth. You're like, hey, thank you, gang. Glad you exist. Let's do some things. And you just do some things. And honestly, sometimes questions, well, they're valuable. Maybe you don't want to know the answer. But let's see. I don't get it, but all right. Now, I can find... Oh, thank you's lunging in like, I keep whiffing, bro. Why am I being treated as a fodder character? Yeah. But let's see. Now I can finally fight... Ooh! He's clean. He's clean. He's clean. He's clean. He's clean. Shin, a toast. A toast, buckaroo. A toast. Whew. Ain't being dehydrated. Drink your water throughout the day, folks. Don't just be like me and then like drink a whole bunch of water in the morning before you go to work and then drink a whole bunch when you're recording. Don't do that. Drink water throughout the day. But with it being the case, darn. Well, then again, no. I'll admit this. Shin is attacking and defending at the same time. This man, essentially, with this perfect ability to fight and defend and command, and what? You aren't going to beat the thought processes. You're going to beat someone's thought processes when they're directly feeding into the body. But he's basically in autonomous ultra instinct right now, because he does have the capacity to defend and attack at the exact same time. And ultimately, thank you, he just ain't got that. And especially considering he's just actively nerfed, his perception... I don't know, man. He may be cooked. Is Shin actually gonna get himself a solo dub for the first time in 10,000 years. Okay, shit. I see you. Boom! Not the tooth out that man's mouth. Let's see. I'll admit, he's him, bro. like, thank you. You may be getting absolutely beasted on right now by Shin, but just the sheer reactivity and creativity that comes with thank you, like anything that he can get his hands on and sling up inside a bow, it'll be a weapon. How? Because he wants it to be. Why? Because he wants it to be. But how, no, don't ask no questions. He don't do it, and he is doing it. Thank you. I see the vision. Well, unfortunately, you don't see the vision because you kind of can't. But still, here's a gift for you. Oh, he's licking his lips. That is the most detailed tongue I ever did see. Let's see. Here's a gift for you. Boom. Shin? He didn't get you in the eyeball. He had him in like the forehead or something. I don't know. Maybe not. Golly. But I'll admit, though, it does make sense from point blank range. Shin likely couldn't expect that. And especially considering it looks like his vision is even somewhat obscured a little bit here, where he put too much force into the punch. So I guess this technically is depends on if he commanded himself here or this is just like an active fight scenario where he's commanding him, where he's just fighting normally. But essentially he put too much force into the swing. So he actually triggered his own blind spot. And instead of using my reading to figure out what Tenki was doing, Tenki moved so fast that he grabbed the dislodged tooth from the impact, put it in his bow, and then all hit Shin in a matter of seconds right after hitting that bench. Very impressive. Let's see. That's right. That's my tooth. My body's tough. It ain't that tough. Oh, take you out. I wish it was that tough, but it ain't that tough, Buckaroo. Your fit ain't even that tough. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's because he doesn't have a fit. But still, let's see. But that's interesting, though. My body's tough. So I wonder if that's just like... Or if Tengu literally does have a special sort of biology. Presumably a bit. Because, interesting. Let's see. Hurts, right? That's my tooth. My body's tough. Ugh. Keeping up with Tengu isn't enough. Even if I push my body to its extreme physical limits, I still can't move faster than him. But like, Shin, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, if you keep playing with this counter strategy that you have, where you let Tengu lunge in, you just beam him. I mean, it'll take a while. It'll be a little bit boring, but I think you could do it, Buckaroo. I think you could do it. Let's see. I still can't move faster than him. And it is the blessing and the curse of, like, how do I put this? I put this as I'm going to do the wake-up dance because for some reason sleep is demanding to take my soul away. And unfortunately, Buckaroo, I'm going to finish this gosh darn recording before I take a nappy-wappy. So... It's been so long since I played a Mario game, but I still have that beat mostly memorized. But there we go. We're awake. And the thing I want to say is it's crazy and it's an unfortunate incident, right? Where ultimately you gotta hype your antagonist, but it's so hard to buy, right? Like, even if I push my body to its extreme physical limits, I still can't move faster than him. But like, Shin, we've seen in combination with your precognition, even before you unlock this like secondary movement ability, You've been able to tag, bro, and do like really good damage. Like, you've put pressure on, you put beats on him to the point where Tenkyu's like having to actively mix up his fighting style. You knocked his tooth out like Shin. I want to believe, and like that's the thing, right? I'm assuming this isn't just Shin saying this for Shin's sake. It's also Suzuki Sensei being like, hey, don't mind the feats, Tenkyu, he's really built like that for real. But like, is he though? Is he though? Like, once again, if this is meant to be a limiter fight, where like ultimately neither character is at full power, I can't buy that, because what excuse does Tengu have to not be at full power? If anything, Shin has way more excuses. That man has been hit with all kinds of things and is literally walking and fighting with a bruised body. The reason I glazed Haruma all throughout his fight with Shin, and even though he ended up being one shot by Takamura not a couple chapters later, is because I did genuinely believe that. I believe that even with Shin's amazing powers and abilities and unique tech that he had at the time, all those unique amps and buffs, I was like, oh, no. Haruma's still clearly like that because he was still dominating the fight. But right now, and this isn't even a bad thing in the executional sense of like, this fight seems even. It feels like Shin and Tenkyu are trading blows with anything Tenkyu having a slight edge just because of how much more damage he's done to Shin so far. But that battle of equals sort of portrays this narrative of Tenkyu being this like overwhelming raw powerhouse that Shin can just not compete with. But ultimately, he's competing very, very well, like notably very, very well. But let's see. Wait. Revelation time. Instead of moving my body, what if I command my mind to function at max power? That's interesting. I guess that's how you sort of skip over the. Once again, I hope this if he entering that translate state. What was it? What was it called? The title of the chapter: Tachyspsychia, a neurological condition that alters the perception of time. So essentially, jacking up your perception to the limit. That's an interesting idea. But then again, I suppose if his mind is functioning at max power, the question is how long can that last before your brain explodes? Right? Like ultimately then again, I know the whole idea that we only use like 10% of our brains is apparently debunked. I think like we do actually use more of our brains. We just can't map it because the brain is super duper complex. The gift of life is so amazing and confusing because we cannot map a human brain to save our lives because of how many neurons we have. I don't talk of any of the bigger creatures. But with it being the case, what if I command my mind to function at max power? Shin, which one of us is gonna die in the end? It should be Shin, thank you. If you were built like that. If this was your story. As someone so eloquently put it, for all intents and purposes, you really can argue that Shin is the not even the deuteragonist, the protagonist of Sakamoto Days. He's like the first character we meet outside the slight Sakamoto backstory. He's very, very his name is not on the manga, but a lot of this story has been his journey, his path to power, his path of strength, and overcoming his own mental weaknesses. A lot of Sakamoto's journey has kind of been like just tearing stuff up until he's gotten to this more recent arc where he's kind of going on his own redevelopment arc, which is very, very interesting and essentially attempting to reach the point where he once stood before on the throne in order to make sure that he can rule over all of the Sakamoto's stores everywhere. Because why not? Let's see. Can my brain handle it? I have to try. I'll push my brain to process to process at peak speed. Okay, interesting. But what did that immediately cause a nosebleed? Ding. Interesting. Okay, so he there it is. There's that slowed down perception of time. He managed to enter. Wow, I was literally kidding about the Master Ultra Instinct thing earlier. I was like, now he's receiving this. What? Everything's slow. Oh, everything's so fodder. Okay, Shin, talk that spooky talk. Wow, and this is from point blank range too. Tenkyu eyeball out. I can't tell if he did the spin thing that he did before, but probably slow. This is just a full speed base arrow, and Shin saying, it hit Mary because she kind of light. Was she in a good move? Wait, no. What was I saying? But ultimately, no, wait, what was I saying? This is why I don't. Do I have to do the again? Where's my brain going? I'm going to take a sip. I literally had something so poignant to say, but my brain shut down. Please, body, I just want to record this one review. I will let you nap, and then we'll go back into the recording session because I need to record. But, what was I going to say? What the heck was I going to say? I was literally talking. Everything's so slow. I mean, I was talking about how impressive it was that Tenkyu's firing at basically point blank range, and since calling that, of all things, slow. That's all I got. There's something more profound I was going to say. I'm telling you, in another timeline, I said something way more profound and interesting and unique and awe-inspiring. I got nothing. Let's see. Slow. I win. Shit. So we built like that. All right. Literally Ultra Instinct shit, I guess. Golly. So that's there's got to be some sort of hefty drawback to this. Unless you know what though? Crazy thing is, this could legit become Shin's new base. Kind of like how how Sakamoto has sort of vanished from the narrative, and now we're just with Skinnymoto. I could see this ultimately, if it has no like immediate drawback or cost on it, I could see this being used as like the way where Shin essentially unlocks a new base, like how Skinnymoto is now the permanent thing. Amped, mental, top of the line, 100% Shin could be a thing in every single fight from now on, because it's gotten that dangerous. If I would not be shocked if this guy mollywops as bad as I think he's about to mollywop, it's about to get tragic. Let's see. I win. He blitzed, bro. He blitzed, bro, out of oblivion. No, thank you. How you get introduced, and then crept, and then cliffed in your own arc, bro. We just met you not 15 chapters ago, and you're already mud. You've been blitzed this bad. He took your whole eye out, thank you. He took your fingers. Thank you. No, he didn't. He ripped the arrow that was meant to pierce him out the air, and then proceeded to giga blitz you, thank you. That's your trash. You're trash. What? He blitzed the soul out that man. Look at his feet. Look at his finger. Did he legit remove two of the fingers are actually straight gone. The left eye that he was complaining about is straight gone. Like, it looks like he even slashed a piece of his back with an arrow. Shin, I'm sorry, I was unfamiliar with your game. Golly. Boom. And he's going, yo, Tanky's like, I was not expecting to get clipped this badly. Oh, sweet mother mercy. Maybe Hardeman wasn't needed for a rematch if he was going to get dipped this bad. Golly. Boom. And that's it. So he won by himself. I mean, unless Tenkyu, let's see, maybe Tenkyu's going to pull a fast one, but I think we may have to clap it up for Shin. I think this is the first fight he's won basically entirely by himself. I mean, he had a little bit of help from Atari and like dodging some attacks, but I'd mostly count this as a Shin solo W. Like, Atari helped prolong a little bit, but I'd say this is mostly a Giga Gargantuan W for Shin, and mostly born of his own development and his own. Yeah, actually, I like this a lot, because it's not even anyone else teaching him this. It is him. Like, ultimately, he came here to learn from Atari in order to get strong with ESP, but simply through experimentation, battle, understanding, and interpersonal and definitely intrapersonal evolution, he reached this point where he's body back. Like, once again, who knows? Maybe Tanky's the weakest of the orphanage kids, but still, he body bagged an orphanage kid horrifically too. Like, that is actually crazy. But looks like he's crying. Huh? You're crying? Like his shit. He's like, can I give you front shots, bro? Let me take that other eye real quick. Please give it to me. Please give it to me. But see, you're crying? Are you sad? No, that's not it. You're scared to kill. Am I right? Oh, I'm about to say, now that I remember, I don't know why it completely slipped my mind that ultimately Shin was an assassin at the start, or like a full-fledged assassin. For some reason, my brain was like, oh, he just left the school, when it's literally a massive plot point they didn't actually go to school because he was raised in front of the ESP. Like, I don't know why my brain completely slipped on the idea, but it looks like yeah, Shin's saying no. Even now, somewhere deep down, I thought that maybe, just maybe, when it came down to it, I might be the one who hesitates to kill, but I'm not. Right now, I feel nothing holding me back from killing you. Do it then! I'm about to say, do it then! I'm the kind of person who shouldn't be there. That much is obvious. But like, Shin, buddy, pal, I feel like you contradict your own point. Like, if you truly didn't hesitate, you'd be talking to yourself after this. I mean, stab that juicy, big old, thick, scrum his arrowhead straight through his domer. But no, you ain't doing that. You're just chilling. So, like, Shin, looks like you hesitate a little bit. And once again, he's probably arguing about what he internally feels. Ultimately, he feels no real internal guilt for taking Tenkyu's life. Like, he's like, it's whatever. He specifically feels guilt based on the external morals placed upon him and the responsibilities placed upon him by Sakamoto. And he understands that once he crosses this line, he can't really be with them. He can't be there because he's just different. He's just different. But let's see. That much is obvious. Die. No thank. Ooh! But Shin with the cleanest block. Ooh, he hit him with the elbow block. And straight into the step. Taurus? No. Wait! Well, so wait, what happened with the Taurus? What was with the Taurus? Well, I guess Sakamoto just followed him? Okay, they're on the third floor of the basement. How did this happen? But, hey, Sakamoto, you win against Taurus? You know anything against Taurus? Jeez, but it's good to see you, Buckaroo. So these plot lines are intersecting. Golly. Mr. Sakamoto. Oh, and that's the end of the chapter? For some reason, I was about to make that like the worthiest star. I like this chapter. Now, obviously, my preconceived power scaler in me is like, I don't like this. Shin, he's getting too strong. But ultimately, I think I just lowballed Shin and highball thank you. I've been wrong before. I've been wrong many times before, especially in Sakamotodays. So I'll take it. This is once again a really unique circumstance and building for both of these characters. Obviously, this will most likely, since I don't think Taekyu's going to die here, it's probably going to give him incentive to grow and realize that maybe Shin has a good reason in believing how he believes and fighting how he fights if he legit won the fight. Just like Tenkyu seemed to be reliant on old fighters and ultimately was bored that none of them could survive him. Hey, Shin did more than survive him. Actually, not some taste into him. Or not taste into him, but taste out of him. And then, with that being the case, we have this wonderful evolution of Shin, where he essentially takes all the stuff he's been learning about his new ability and compiles it, and then produces not just everything about his new ability in terms of like the whole mental messaging thing, but like even the commands and the reading of the mind and all that. He uses all that to its limit by commanding himself to move at the most optimal and peak way, to the point where he gets a whole speed blitz tier above Tenkyu's attacks, which are a bunch of whole speed blitz tier above him. So Shin's development in power is crazy, and I'm interested to see what Sakamoto says. Because that's an interesting appearance right here at the end. But of course, it makes sense. I do also want to save the wonderful, amazing character that is Tenkyu, and hopefully the best way to do that is have Sakamoto step in. And the question is, what is Shin going to say? Why did I say Shin? Gosh darn it. A little bit of sleepy end means right to the end. What is Sakamoto going to say? I don't know, but I'm excited to find out. However, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave water arrow backwards, because like this fight was flipped backwards on his dome piece in an instant. Leave water, WORRA, in the comment section down below. I did thank you so much for watching. If you're new, leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you hit that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, do have a pretty down below where you support me for as low as $1, and things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Those perks include the live reactions, whoever this series I happen to review, ad free reviews of all my videos, and become a $25 patron or a $25 member. You can order whatever video you want. Also do have a link to my Ko-Fi in the description down below. You got 5 beans for a short video, 20 beans for a long video, or any beans at all. Any support is always greatly appreciated. Now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Other Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our sketch tier members: Greyhound, Eternal Flame, Red Wolf 4765, Astro, Super Flame Zero, Brandon Payne, Glacier XE, and G Prosper. And then I'd like to give a big old thank you to our line art tier patrons: Sean, Midnight Lord 21, Kevin, Encarnacion, Igneo Lind, and A+A. And I'd like to give a big ol' thank you to our Ink tier members: Fine, Austin Wimberly Euchia, and Yuki Alla. Then I'd like to give a big ol' gargantuan thank you to our digital art tier members: Jay Warrior and AZ Void. Then I'd like to give a big gargantuan thank you to our colored art tier patrons: Overlord Zero, Joaquin Munoz, and Item Okami. And I'd like to give a final gargantuan, supersized, sweet mother of mercy, that kidney will be yours one day, or the Black Myth video, whichever comes first, possibly both, that guy with a pencil tier patron, Calvin Elder.